think we're good.
Are we good? Okay. Well, thanks for joining us today. We are here with Montana Tech, and we are going to be learning all about their fantastic campus. My name is Elizabeth. I am with the Montana Educational Talent Search, and we have Monica and Lewis here today to give us all their great insights. And we are super excited to find out more about your campus. So we were thinking that we would start with Monica. You can just introduce yourself and share your slides, maybe.
Sure. Yeah. Hi, everyone. My name is Monica, and I am one of the admissions counselors at Oregon Tech. Thanks for joining. I will go ahead and try to start sharing my slides, but maybe Lewis, if you also want to just say who you are, and then I'll start with the slides, and then we'll get to other things after.
Okay, sure. So my name is Lewis. I'm a student ambassador, but I'm also a student. So I'm a senior in the mechanical engineering program here at Oregon Tech.
Great. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you for having us. And I did send the slides over, so I'm ready for them to be presented if that's possible. Thank you. So again, like I mentioned, we are Oregon Tech, or Oregon Institute of Technology. I'm just going to run through a couple of these. I had quite a few, but I'll run through just a couple so that we can kind of get an idea of who we are. So we will go ahead and move forward. So we are Oregon's Polytechnic University. We are the only polytechnic school in Oregon. And what that really means to us is that we're focusing on applied education and hands-on learning. So you'll not only be learning textbook theories and things like that. You'll not just be in textbooks when you're in classes, but a lot of our programs are going to have dedicated lab courses. They'll have internships or externships kind of integrated throughout, and lots of project-based courses. So you'll really be focusing on the skills that you will need to go out in after you have graduated and have those skills to be successful in your career. We do produce fantastic and successful graduates. Lewis is about to be one of our graduates soon. And we do have lots of inverted degrees, which means to us that essentially you are not just taking 2 years of general education requirements right out of the bat, but that you are going to be in courses that are taught by your faculty who have had access to the different fields recently, and you'll be in courses directly related to your major pretty much right when you step foot on campus. And I'm just going to touch on 1 to 2 of these profile and points of pride. We are a smaller school, so our main campus has just over 2,000 students. We do have a commuter campus as well, that's about 800. And then overall, with our online programs and a couple of our other locations, we have just under 5,000 students. So we are smaller, which really helps you foster great connections with your professors and classmates. We do have lots of different academic programs to choose from, lots of ways to get involved on campus. And as you see on some of those circles over on the right, lots of different bubbles of different awards and rankings that we have, as well as great starting salary for our graduates and small class sizes. And then I'll just end on this one here. It's our location slide. So as I mentioned, we are a smaller campus, and our main campus is located in Southern Oregon, Klamath Falls. So our community in general is a little bit more rural. It's not what you would think of when you think of the rest of Oregon. A lot of people think of Oregon as very rainy. Here in Klamath Falls, we are in a high desert climate, so we get lots of sun, lots of snow, pretty much all 4 seasons. And we have just about 20,000 people in town. But it's a great way for our students to build community while they're on campus. We do have our on-campus housing, we have our athletics teams here, and lots of different programs to choose from. And then our other campus is up in Wilsonville, which is near the Portland area. And that one is our commuter campus. So it's one building where students will have evening courses or weekend courses even sometimes, because a lot of the students that go to our Wilsonville campus are transfer students or students who are maybe having different responsibilities like taking care of a family, or they might have additional duties like a full-time job outside of their classes. And I'll go ahead and stop sharing there so that we can get into some of the questions, because hopefully that's just kind of a general overview, but I am happy to take any questions now. I'm trying.
That was all great information.
Thank you.
Out of those slides, what do you feel like really makes your campus stand out to potential students?
Yeah, good question. So for me, I definitely, and Lewis, I'll let you answer this too if you're comfortable. I know it wasn't one of the things to maybe look into, but I will say that for me, when choosing to work at Oregon Tech, I think that it was very awesome to see how dedicated the students are and what they're doing. So I think what makes Oregon Tech stand out to students is that our faculty are very dedicated to what their students are doing, and our staff members are dedicated to their students as well. We're all really here trying to help our students succeed so that they can go out upon graduation and be successful. And I think that the hands-on kind of curriculum will really stand out to students as well. Lewis, I don't know if you have anything to add on that question.
Yeah, so I would probably say one of the big things that makes it stand out, particularly to a student as myself, would be just having like a smaller, tight knit community. It is, if you're on the main campus, you're looking at like a little over 2,100 or like a little over 2,000 students altogether throughout like all the different programs. And even though you have a lot of people in different programs, you'll get to know a lot of people from a lot of different majors because it's not a very big campus, and so you'll be taking classes with, if you're an engineering student, you'll have like a couple of classes with some medical students, and so it's very open, it's very broad, and so you get to like meet and associate yourself with a bunch of different type of people in completely different majors, and so I think that's really nice. And so I think that's one of the things that really makes us stand out.
Lewis, what made you pick this campus to go to?
Yeah, so for me personally, I actually, if you saw the map, we're located in Klamath Falls. I was born and raised in Klamath Falls, and so it was a pretty easy choice for me, just because it was, the campus was in my backyard. But also, I actually came in as a transfer student, and before I came to Oregon Tech, I was up in Central Oregon, and I worked for a couple of different companies, they were engineering firms. And a lot of the people that I met through there were, graduates from Oregon Tech in engineering, and everyone just had positive things to say about the engineering program. So, having it in my backyard and, seeing that it's been working out for people out in industry just really made it an easy choice for me.
That's great. Monica, what assistance do you guys have for first generation students on your campus?
Yeah, great question. So we have lots of different student support services for all students, but specifically for our first generation students, I always recommend our TOP program. So TOP, it stands for Tech Opportunities Program. And essentially what that is, it is a separate support system and a secondary support system. So all of our students will come to campus and have a faculty advisor. And then our top students will have a secondary advisor in that program. So they'll put on different activities and kind of events and excursions for their students. They've gone up to Crater Lake before, which is our national park in Oregon. They've done a lot of different activities, team bonding, financial aid literacy courses, things like that. But then they're also just there to serve as a support as first generation students are navigating kind of the college experience and what it looks like to be a college student. And obviously, since we're in Oregon, they're also there to support students who are out of state. So what it might look like if you are moving away from home for the first time and things like that.
Oh, that sounds amazing. Crater Lake is on my bucket list. It's beautiful. What's your favorite experience that you've had so far, Lewis?
Favorite experience, I would probably just say, I'm going to keep going back to that tight-knit community just because I'm a transfer student, and I have an associate's degree that I got at the community college level. And when I came to Oregon Tech, it felt more inviting to kind of socialize and like actually make friend groups. So I've made friends with a lot of people again in a lot of different majors. And those are friendships that, I strongly believe will continue past, the college level. And so, I'll still have those friends, post graduation, which it could be a completely different experience for somebody else, but that's not something I could say about my first experience with college. So I'm glad that I was able to come back and, make those social groups out of college this second time around.
Yeah, I went to a smaller college as well, and I really do think the sense of community is nice in a smaller college. Everyone's not divided out into different aspects. Like you see each other when you eat, you see each other at games, and that is a super fun part of a smaller campus. I think so. Do you have any special supports for Native American students, Monica, on your campus?
Yeah, so I didn't show a slide about this, but we do have our overarching student involvement and belonging office. And that office oversees all of our clubs, organizations, and things like that. But they're essentially the people that you go to if you want to get involved. And so we have a lot of different identity-based organizations. At this moment in time, to my knowledge, I do not believe that we have one specific for Native American students. That doesn't mean that you can't obviously create a club. If you come to campus and you're like, I would like to make this club, you're more than welcome to start one. We do have the Treehouse, which is our student-led kind of diversity and belonging center. So they will do a lot of different activities for all of our students related to different identities and things like that. But it's also a nice safe space for students to go study, get a snack, things like that, and just build community with one another. So the Treehouse is kind of that main place right now.
Well, it sounds super cute. Is it
Yes.
does it look like a tree house, or is it just, figuratively a tree house?
Unfortunately, I don't think so. I don't know.
What was your biggest challenge at this campus? You're a transfer student, Lewis. Have you met any challenges?
Yeah, I would probably say just coming from the community college level up to like the 4-year university, I kind of felt like there was a little bit of a higher standard as far as like how the professors expected their students to, well, basically holding their students up to a higher standard. And so it was a pretty big leap as far as, I don't want to say difficulty of the class, although like that's just kind of what it is, but I do think it pays its dividends because, we tend to have like there's a fundamentals of engineering exam that engineers can choose to take, and kind of it's like a different kind of certification that engineers can take, and with the studying that we get through Oregon Tech, most of our students, we have a pretty good success rate of passing that exam. It's like a national exam for engineers, basically.
Nice.
So I do think it pays off, but it does make it a little bit challenging.
Yeah. Well, it looks like you rose to the challenge. I mean, you're about to graduate and
Yeah.
you're going to go out there and kill it. So it's going to be awesome. What kind of job placement do you have for your graduates, Monica, in their first year after graduation?
Yeah, so we have actually taken surveys from students previously, and our most recent data showed that we have a 96% graduate success rate. So if you graduate with an Oregon Tech degree, 96% of those students have been in their career of choice or furthering their education within 6 months, actually. So it kind of really shows, one, how dedicated our students are and just how passionate they are about what they do. But then it also shows that hands-on education that you learn and grow in when you're here will definitely help you get those skills. So rather high. And then was a button on that slide, but I didn't really talk about it that much. Our students do have the highest graduate salary and starting salary in Oregon once they graduate. So I think that's awesome too, is that our students are getting degrees that are very applicable to society right now and can make quite a bit of money with those too. So that's nice.
That is nice. Well, and that's what a lot of people are, wanting out of their education, is to be successful after college. So that's really good. Lewis, if you were talking to some high school students, what would be the biggest advice you would give them at looking at going to college?
I think I think I have one for just kind of like the everyday student, and then I have one that's like a little bit more geared towards engineering students. So I'll go with the more general one first and just say, when you're in class, don't ever be afraid to ask questions, because a lot of the times, the professor's going to ask if somebody has questions, and everyone's going to kind of look around. Nobody really wants to be that first person to like say that they're like not understanding it. But you need to understand that the other people, if you're kind of looking around and people are just kind of giving each other blank faces, those people probably don't know what's going on either. So if you guys don't say anything, the professor's just going to keep going, and it's just going to keep piling on. So don't be afraid to ask that question. I promise you there's more people who struggle with the material. And then don't be afraid to take advantage of any of the services that, any universities have to offer. So like we have a peer consulting service here at Oregon Tech, and that's free tutoring. You do not have to pay for it. It is absolutely free. So if you need help tutoring, don't be afraid to walk in there, get some help. At the end of the day, you're here to learn, and, you might as well take advantage of the services that we have to offer. And then my last one specifically for if anybody's looking to get into engineering, would be to try and build a really good foundation of mathematics, because everything you do is going to be related to mathematics in some way. You take physics, it's going to be a lot of calculus. You go into structural engineering, it's going to be a lot of, differential equations, all this stuff. I could go on about this forever. So like the better foundation that you build up in algebra and trigonometry is going to let you build a better foundation for calculus, which is going to help you with physics, and just it all piles on top of itself. So the better you are to begin, the better off you're going to be, because it's just going to be a lot of the same stuff in different applications. So
yeah, that's awesome advice. That's super true about a lot of things in life. You got to have a really solid foundation to make everything work out. So if someone's super interested in coming to your campus, what kind of financial aid could they be looking at that's specific to your campus?
Yeah, good question. So we have lots of different opportunities. Obviously, the biggest one that I always mention to all students is to fill out the FAFSA, or the free application for federal student aid. That would be actually technically through our financial aid office, but we in admissions always try to kind of send that out as well. So that will help you figure out if you are eligible for any federal loans or grants or things like that. And then we also have lots of different scholarships that are offered just here through Oregon Tech. So we have some that are merit-based, which means essentially based on your GPA or test scores if you have them. We are a test optional school, so we don't require you to take the SAT or ACT, but it could help you if you have them. And then, merit-based, based off of your GPA, and those can range for out-of-state students or WUI students, which I guess I should talk about now. We are part of WUE, or WUE, the Western Undergraduate Exchange Program. And what that is a lot of public Western schools have that. But if you are in one of the qualifying states and in a WUE eligible major, I know this is a lot of information, so feel free to reach out to us at any time if you have questions. But essentially, if you are in a specific state and major, then you can get a discounted tuition rate right off the bat, without having to do anything extra except for apply. So we have that. We have merit-based scholarships, and then other scholarships that you can apply to that might be more based on a decision based on some short answer essays or things like that you can always send in. So lots of different options for aid and support like that. And our financial aid office is actually right next to us in admissions, so they're always a huge help too.
Well, that sounds great. So far we haven't had any live questions. So before we wrap it up, is there anything that you would really want to share with us that we haven't touched upon? We also make sure that these interviews are available post-interview, so the kids can jump on and check it out at their leisure. Lots of times they're too busy to jump on during the live one. But if there's anything you think we've missed that's, special about your campus. Oh, Lewis is ready. Do it.
I'm seeing a question in the comments where someone asked why I chose engineering.
We do have one.
Oh.
Go for it.
All right. So I really chose engineering because coming out of high school, I was pretty good at math and I was pretty good at science, but I feel like that's kind of like a generic thing, and so people tell you to go into engineering, but there's so many different types of engineering that it's kind of hard to pick. Like, do you want to go software engineering? Do you want to go hardware engineering, civil engineering, mechanical engineering? And so for Oregon Tech, it typically falls to either civil or mechanical. And the way we kind of separate each other from one another is, if you're civil engineering, do you like working on things that don't move, such as like bridges, buildings? If you're going to be designing a dam, or do you like building things that do move, like designing cars or working with robots, just stuff like that. And so for me, I've always been really into like working on cars and things like that. More so like just kind of like the general mechanics, but I did want to, learn the inner workings of, why does this part get made out of this material? Or, why does, like just why do people design things that the way that they design them? And so just from that kind of curiosity's sake, I was leaning a little bit more towards mechanical. And then once I was in the program, one of the classes that we actually take here, they try to get you to take it your very first term when you come to Oregon Tech, is like an engineering orientation where they kind of break down the entire program into a single term, where 1 week you'll kind of do a small lab that'll be like reflective of a class that you're going to be taking. So like, for example, the first week you might do a quick fluid mechanics lab. And so for my cohort, we did little squirt guns. And so you had to like calculate the pressure that was in the vessel and like how fast it was going to be coming out of the nozzle, depending on the size of the nozzle. And, it gets very complicated very quickly. And it's not even necessarily that they're trying to get you overwhelmed from the very beginning. They just kind of want to give you like a very quick overview of like what each aspect is. And so hopefully by the end of the term, you can kind of get a good gauge of, or, did I find this fun? Did I think this was entertaining? Maybe this kind of showed me that I want to go a different route, that kind of stuff. And so I think every program has a similar class. And I know civil engineering also has one. I'm not sure if they have one in the software program, but there's always something that, from very early on will give you a good gauge of whether or not it's the right kind of program for you.
That makes a lot of sense. And you seem really excited about what you're working on. And I think that's the key for everybody. You need to find something that makes you this happy. Like, that's the whole point. So
yeah, I can talk about it all day.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's what people are going to school for. You need to find something that makes you this excited and go with it. Thanks for sharing, your passion with us. That's super exciting.
I will say that Lewis has fixed and helped a lot in the admissions office as an ambassador. So if you can find whatever school you end up at, an on-campus job that you enjoy, that's always fun as well. And one other thing I will mention that I did not remember to mention at the beginning, but we talked a lot about engineering because Lewis is here and is an engineering student, but I didn't mention that we have other different degrees that are offered as well. We have lots of different health science programs. We have lots of business programs, and we have lots of applied science programs like applied psychology, communication studies, and things like that. So while we do like weave technology into a lot of our different degrees that we offer, we have a lot of different programs as well. If engineering is great, but we are not only engineering. So we have lots of different programs as well that some people might just not be aware of if they think of Oregon Tech.
No, that's smart. People just think it has to do with, science and technology and math and engineering, but that's great to know. We have quite a few kids that are interested in those fields as well. So hopefully they will do a deeper dive into your website and come check it all out. Well, I think we got a ton of great information. It was really exciting getting to hear from you guys. And if we do not have any other comments live, we can go ahead and wrap this up. And I'm really excited for kids to be able to see this and learn more about your campus. And thanks again for coming.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having us.
Have a good day, guys.
Thank you.